The ruckus we were promised by the squad. Do we get to still call them the squad anymore? What does the squad do?
I hear the squat. What else do they call them? I don't know. Somebody tell me.
Well, okay.
I mostly ignore.
There are a couple of different things that happened recently. Obviously, there was the Hakeem Jeffries, not Hakeem Jeffries, the Speaker of the House with McCarthy. And the glee with which, obviously like regular corporate Democrats looked on, but it was really, again, incredibly instructive to see members of the squad not only mock the political infighting on the Republican side, which I loved, not from some schadenfreude, but because I wish we had a Tea Party of the left actually fighting for something, or Freedom Caucus or whatever the hell. But also all the members of the squad lining up enthusiastically to show their support for Hakeem Jeffries, who started a super PAC to
crush progressives.
Yeah, to crush them. So what kind of ruckus is that? So
and these guys are all born. I mean, Jeffries, he rose to power because you can't become speaker unless you're like one of the most evil people. Like, let's just put that out there. You're not going to get to the top of corporate owned parties unless you have no morals. You're replacing Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
So, I mean, most people know this, but he, during Bernie's campaign, he went around the TV on the networks saying Bernie was wholly beholden to the NRA, which was an absolutely fabricated lie.
Total lie.
But he got a lot of airtime, popularity from that. And, who does that? The most evil guy. So all the squad should know that. That was fresh on their minds from, if they're having any meetings talking about things, if they're actually scheming anything, if they ever have any discussions, which we hear from the squad themselves, they don't even they don't have strategy.
A voting block. They don't decide. No, they don't leverage their power. Block. No. I mean, basically, they were called the squad by Nancy Pelosi, and then they glommed onto it and became like a marketing campaign to go, on the cover of Vanity Fair or whatever. So, okay, so here is AOC. Well, do we even need to show that? Who cares? She basically just said, we've got lots of stuff going on and we're 100% united with Jeffries. So that's gross, appalling, and completely betrays any insistence that they might have that they're fighting for us or doing anything that they said they were going to do. They haven't gotten anything that they said they were going to fight for. They haven't shown us how they're fighting for us. They have caved on every important vote. So that's one part of it. The other part, and this I thought was sort of interesting, is California politics, but we all know, and it's been, written about quite extensively, that Dianne Feinstein is in fairly advanced stages of Alzheimer's. Yeah, she forgets conversations she has. She takes medicines, which I think a lot of people actually in Congress are taking Alzheimer medicine. But she, I think, has filed paperwork to run again in 24. She has not said she's not going to run. She's 89 years old and she has Alzheimer's. Katie Porter last week announced that she is running for Dianne Feinstein's seat, which I have lots of issues with Katie Porter because she was a Warren person and I find that reprehensible, but she has some good moments. And I thought that was pretty great. Well, the corporate media is not having it. Yeah. They are upset. So here is MSNBC's response.
In Washington, California Congresswoman Katie Porter is getting a little bit of flack from some members of her own party after the progressive lawmaker announced today she wants to run for Senate in 2024. Porter's potential rivals are taking aim at the timing of her announcement. A source close to Adam Schiff calls it an incredible mistake for her to launch a campaign right now, adding, and I'm quoting here, that we are not going to announce in the middle of a natural disaster and are surprised that others would do so. Another Democrat, Ro Khanna, telling NBC he's also focused on the historic weather conditions back home. Here's another reason why this announcement is so notable. It's because the senior Democrat in California, Dianne Feinstein, has said she hasn't made a decision yet about what she's going to do for 2024. She certainly has not announced that she's going to clear the way for somebody else to take her position, telling NBC Today she's going to make an announcement at the appropriate time. I want to bring in now NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray, who is joining us now. And Mark, Porter's communications director tweeted today that the Congresswoman raised something like $250,000 in just 90 minutes after this announcement, right? That puts her on pace for numbers that her campaign, really, her office hasn't seen before, right? It is a bold move by the Congresswoman here to announce now.
So that is the tack they're all taking, which is really interesting. There was also this on Joy-Ann Reid talking to Governor Newsom, who said that if Dianne Feinstein retired before the end of her term, Newsom would be able to appoint a Black woman to finish off the term. So if Katie Porter plans to run, she'd be challenging what would be the only Black woman senator. So they're already going to charge her with racism. They're going to, because she is borderline progressive, they're going to give her the Bernie treatment and a little bit of the Warren treatment.
Right.
This was The View. Also, I think interesting.
Now, the seat she's running for is currently occupied by Dianne Feinstein, the oldest sitting senator at 89. And it's widely speculated that Feinstein will not be seeking another term. But since she hasn't actually made that official yet, some people are saying that Porter is making a disrespectful move by not waiting. What do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised, though, because I think what we saw when we saw the Democrats during that House chaotic moment when they were trying to pick speakers was this unity. Yeah. And I think that unity came from the fact that Hakeem Jeffries waited his turn and waited for Nancy Pelosi to sort of bless him and say, yes, I'm going to step down. You may step up. And I think she kind of earned that right. And so Dianne Feinstein, she has been a lion of the Senate. And for her, even at 90, I don't know, she's put in her papers for 2024 basically saying, I'm going to run again. And so there's some tension there. And I'm surprised Katie Porter wouldn't get her blessing first.
It's hard to see clearly for me because I think Katie Porter is such a force.
Amazing.
And normally I wouldn't concern myself. I'm not a political person with California, but I learned of Katie Porter in one of the many whiteboard presentations and was like, that woman is fascinating. Yeah. So it's, again, I tend to give her more credit that there could be more to this. She could have talked privately. There could have been some advisors or people that know. In theory, that sounds lovely, Sunny, but getting her blood in the Senate to me was like, it's a bit Machiavellian, but I'm like, just go, girl, go.
I mean, Adam Schiff is also someone that people are talking about sort of taking that place. I'd love to see an Adam Schiff, but only if Dianne is truly ready to step down.
Isn't Adam Schiff getting a lot of flack from the right now about different, they're calling him all different?
I feel like
he's
hiring campaign staff, but he's kind of radioactive a little bit.
I feel like it makes it even better.
I mean, these people hate democracy. Wait your turn, get your blessing. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're just condoning the monarchy in England, or something.
100%.
We're forced, hey, the Democratic Party doesn't want him, and they're just openly talking about this. Like, you gotta kiss at your ass up the food chain to the top to even run for the seat because she's so great. I mean, they don't talk about anything she's done. It's just
she's a lion of the Senate. Why? Number one. And also, I mean,
and why don't they talk about her fucking dementia? I mean,
no mention of that.
I mean,
maybe she's not ready. Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not ready. They don't care about the politics. They don't actually care about any policies. They don't care if your people in Congress are representing you at all. It is completely just a game to them. The idea that you have to have So I never watched The View, but that popped up, and it popped up for me a few days after the whole timeline of Biden's documents being found, his own version of Mar-a-Lago next to his Porsche or whatever the hell he has locked up. And it was like this slow leak, but I mean, they initially found them and told the Department of Justice in November before the midterms. That wasn't announced until sometime in December. By that point, Merrick Garland had already announced a special counsel to investigate Trump's documents. even though he knew at that point that Biden also had classified documents. And, the covering for that, like there's been almost no talk about it on liberal media about Biden. And if it is, it's why it's different, how they have actually really tried to, they haven't tried to do any obstruction
cooperated
of justice
from the start.
Right. Yeah.
But they didn't advertise any of this when asked about it at the White House. What's her name? The speaker at the White House.
Yeah. Karine Jean-Pierre. Yeah. They make it seem like it's a totally different thing. And what it really comes down to is, and I mean, here, I'm sorry to play her again, but I think it's such a mindset into such a glimpse into liberals' minds is they're just going to decide your intention and you're on the right team. So this is Joy Behar. Forgive me, but I'm going to show her one more time.
I think that what you just said is right, that there are differences in what happened.
Yes, but the optics are not good.
Well, we all know that Trump is a liar and a thief. We know that. So it's not that big a jump to say that he obstructed and he lied. We don't think that Biden is a liar and a thief, so we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's partly what's going on. But what I think also is going on, no matter what the truth of it is, Whoopi, they will spin it, Bubblehead and Marjorie Taylor and that crowd, Matt Gaetz. You think they're not going to spin this, that it's just as bad as Trump? And so the lie gets out there, people believe it, just like that Donaldson person, whatever his name is.
Byron.
What's his name?
Byron
Donalds. I saw him also. He was at the fight on the floor, too, wasn't
he was nominated for speaker a number of times.
By two people.
He's the new darling.
One of the 15 rounds.
He's
But I mean,
the
what I'm
darling
just
of the
saying is that
Republican
the
Party.
lying has been so invasive, so ubiquitous, that no one will believe the truth anymore. And that you can put that at the feet of Donald Trump, who started the lying.
So
Donald Trump started lying. I mean, it's like they have absolutely no self-awareness. Donald Trump was the first liar in chief.
So if you're on the right, which I am not, but if you're on the right, there are so many lies that Biden has told publicly throughout his career that you're completely ignoring. I mean, he met with Nelson Mandela. A drunk driver killed his wife. His kid died of died in the Iraq War. I mean, you could go on and on and on with all the lies Biden has told. He marched for civil rights. None of that shit is true. Like, he was top of his class in college.
He's like pathological liar. He had to drop out.
He never wanted. Yeah, he never wanted to cut Social Security. He literally lied in his college. He had a college plagiarized in college. I mean, the right knows what a liar he is. So, like, when you have these liberals on TV not being honest about this stuff. Like anyone on the right is going to watch that show and go, well, you're ignoring all this obvious stuff. Right. It's so partisan, clearly. Like, just address what happened, compare it to how the other side was treated, and be honest. Don't say, well, but I like him. He's a good guy. He never lies. Like,
it's the same thing they do with every single Trump policy that they hated when Trump did it. But then when Biden says, take your mask off and let it rip, when Biden deports more people, when Biden gives more money to cops or to war, Biden has migrants in cages. It's, he's trying, it's different. How's he supposed to, like, it's so pathetic. Anyway, that's where we are.
Which is why the Democrats hated having both chambers. And now they can settle into, it's not our fault. We're trying. But when you tried before and you had all levers of power, it's a weak excuse, which is why Manchin, we don't hear anymore about Manchin and Sinema. Well, Sinema's gone. Like, we don't, the new villains don't even matter yet, because now they're just, the Republicans are the villains, and they're hoping that gets them through 2024, but it's not going to. Newsflash.